it's funny though, Kelsey, because Clarence, he thinks Ryan Tannehill is an elite quarterback. I don't know how. Or, yes.
I want to hear this, Clarence.
I'm just saying. Look, he got traded. Look, he got in midseason. He got traded from Miami to Tennessee. And Marcus Mariota, he wasn't getting the job done. And Ryan Tannehill came in and took over the starting quarterback. He led them to playoff wins. He was one game away to beating the best of the best, the Kansas City Chiefs. Like you said, we didn't expect Ryan Tannehill to go to no AFC championship. This was a surprise. So I'm like, that makes him elite. That makes him elite because he made people like think like he believed in him. Like
so
Clarence. Good. I wouldn't say it was Ryan Tannehill. Come on.
Thank you. Now, see, Kelsey, this is what I explained to Clarence. I told him the reason why the Tennessee Titans overachieved and got to the AFC Championship game, it wasn't because of Ryan Tannehill. It was because of Derrick Henry. And you know, Ryan Tannehill got paid in the offseason, Kelsey. And I told Clarence that I believe Ryan Tannehill, he should be paying for Derrick Henry's Christmas gifts and his family this year. He should be paying for Derrick Henry's family's Christmas gifts because I think Derrick Henry got Ryan Tannehill that contract. I don't think Ryan Tannehill is an elite quarterback, me personally.
Literally, Ryan Tannehill had the dream. He had. Okay, I'm gonna put this in relationship terms. He had that beautiful girl, right? Which is Derrick Henry. That girl that you've always admired on Instagram, the one that you've always been trying to go after, and makes you look good. That's exactly what he had in Derrick Henry. That's what happened. And I think Ryan Tannehill, again, not a bad quarterback, but let's all remember we had a good quarterback on the market like a Cam Newton. And you see how long it took him to get signed. Ryan Tannehill, and he can. Think about how good he can be if he has the right cast of characters in New England, even though, geez, it seemed like with COVID, I mean, New England players are dropping left and right? I'm not playing this.
Yeah.
Ryan Tannehill was in a good situation. He was in a good situation, and it matters. I think even when we talk about the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, he's a talented quarterback, but he's also in the right situation with the coach that understands him, an offense that's able to go around his best abilities, and people that look good. And that's why even I'm excited for Lamar. So, Marquise Brown put on 28 pounds of muscle. Think about what he did.
I want to ask you this, though. Kelsey. Yeah. You know, when y'all drafted Lamar Jackson and you seen all the hype, he's a running back, he's not no quarterback, and what is Baltimore doing of drafting him? Actually, 31 teams passed on him. Even the team Baltimore passed on him, but they came back in the first round and got him back. So tell me, like, what was your reaction when y'all did draft the Lamar Jackson?
Let me tell you, I've been a Lamar fan. I always root for the underdog. And how perfect was it that when we had Ozzie Newsome, who was the African-American GM in the National Football League, for him,
he's a magician,
a black quarterback. And if you know Ozzie knows his stuff. When Ozzie does something, it goes right. And as we say in Baltimore, in Ozzie we trust. And that's what it was. I think he was a very different style of quarterback than Joe Flacco. So I think that's why you had some Ravens fans at first going, what? Is this going to work?
Yeah.
Now what they've been able to do with Lamar Jackson, who's under him. RG3, talk about just similar styles and someone who can really complement him and back him up. It's an exciting time in Baltimore, and we've never had anything like it. And mind you, I remember when Lamar played his first game, it was rough. It was bad. But I think what made him so special is after that, he went that all season, just became a beast, a monster. And then we saw what he was able to do the next season. And now we're all ready for week 3, the Chiefs and the Ravens, Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson.
You can't forget week 5. You can't forget week 5, Kelsey. Y'all play against my boy Joe Burrow and the Bengals, man. So
nobody cares about the Bengals.
Trust me. This is an AFC North conversation, Trey. So you gotta listen to this, man.
No. Okay. So Kelsey, in free agency, this year y'all brought in Matthew Judon, outside linebacker. Y'all got Derek Wolfe, defensive end, Justin Ellis, defensive tackle. Re-signed Jimmy Smith, cornerback. Which free agent signing excites you the most for your team, and which player will have the biggest impact that y'all signed in free agency?
You started with it, Judon. I think he was a piece that not enough people talked about, but he's such a core piece of that team. He's a heartbeat of that team. Because think about it, for a long time, I think this team has always had loud voices, right? For a long time, it was Ray Lewis when he was with the team. Judon is that player. As he says, body built by Taco Bell. If you're a Ravens fan, you know that. Sponsorship with Taco Bell, but he's an inaugural that team. So I think that was great. Calais Campbell. Not enough people are talking about that though. Like
he's a beast.
Somehow, like, even though this team was loaded last year, they got more loaded. And then how they drafted, I think they had one of the best draft classes. So again, I think this is why they're putting the league on notice. As long as Lamar stops hopping over jet skis and stuff and scaring the hell out of us here in Baltimore, I feel like it's going to be a fun time again. I think we're so privileged and blessed to have Lamar Jackson in this division. I mean, people are talking, and then also think about it. No more Tom Brady, right? No more Tom Brady in New England. Like, it's going to be, I think, just the time for him to rise and shine. And I love his saying, nobody cares, work harder. He always knows he's an underdog. I think that's what fuels him. But those free agent signings, job well done to the front office.
Well, let me tell you this, Kelsey. For us Cincinnatians, we're not happy that we got to play with play against a quarterback that can run. And I think that what the Bengals did, they signed a lot of players that was good against the run. You draft a lot of athletic players. So I think that's going to be a challenge upon us because we're dealing with a quarterback that can run, and he's a very underrated thrower. So when I think of Baltimore, I'll be like, oh man, Lamar Jackson, man, God, man, we got to deal with this. But his defense, I read in this article, they was ranked the #1 defense going into 2020. I'm like, are you serious? But yeah. I'm very excited though for the Baltimore and the AFC North showdown, man. I'm definitely gonna be tuned in.
Real quick, Kelsey, I want to say this real quick. I have to exclude myself from the rest of the Cincinnatians. I am a diehard Packers fan. I don't know if you had a chance to look at my Instagram or my Facebook, but I'm a diehard Packers fan.
So how did that happen?
I've always been a Packers fan, Kelsey. Since I was a young kid, my mom, she was buying me like Green Bay Packer blankets. I had Packer trash cans and a Packer toothbrush when I grew up. I've never been a Bengals fan, so I had to disassociate myself from what Clarence just tried to say. I wanted you to know I am a fan of a team that has won Super Bowls and has had playoff success. I just want you to know that before we moved on.
Shade, man. That is the most shade.
I had to let it be known.
Oh my God.
Now, real quick, Kelsey, John Harbaugh is leading the charge for your Ravens, and he's 128-81 overall as a head coach. He's won 61% of his games. How do you feel about John Harbaugh as a coach, and do you believe he can help with the development of Lamar Jackson as his career goes along?
Yeah, that's a great question. Like, there's a reason why John Harbaugh won Coach of the Year with Lamar Jackson. I mean, their chemistry is just undeniable, and he works with Lamar. He didn't try to change Lamar. I think that's what's so special about John Harbaugh. If you talk to players, you say he's a player's coach. He gets us. He understands us. And look, I know he has that older brother that gets more attention, but John is doing the right job, and it's an exciting thing. And think about what the Ravens have done under his leadership. It's been incredible. They're a team you usually always put in the playoffs. You're not worried about them, getting to the playoffs. It's how they will do in the playoffs. So that's because of John. I think he's been it's such an important part about it. And then again, to have a quarterback like Lamar, who was underestimated, to believe in him, allow him to grow. I mean, there were sometimes in games I'm like, what is John doing? He trusts Lamar so much. If Lamar was like, hey coach, I think I can do this. And it's like, you're about to go for 3 on the 50-yard line. I'm like, no, wait, like don't do that. And John trusts him and he gets the job done. But again, I think that's what you need. You need a coach that believes in you to be the best of your abilities. And I think a coach that allows you to be unique. I think that's what Cam Newton needs. I hope he finds that because, again, you have these unique style quarterbacks. Quarterbacks are just different, right? I mean, Lamar has opened up the game. Even Michael Vick is giving his praises. Like, that's when you know you're doing something. Michael Vick gives you. I mean, it's great. So I think John is the right man for the job. And I mean, he's probably one of the few coaches in the NFL. I think who knows he has some job security.
So you keep mentioning Cam Newton, though, Kelsey. So who you have favorite winning the AFC East?
I'm gonna tell you why I keep mentioning Cam Newton because I get so frustrated. I get so frustrated with everyone saying he's done, he's washed. He's not.
Me too, Kelsey. Me too.
See what Cam Newton did in Carolina, and I get tired of disrespect. And I think and again, this is a different Patriots team, and I think we also cannot say he's going to be the next Tom Brady because that's not Cam. Cam is amazing, though. Look, Tom Brady's like untouchable. So if I could pick anybody, I would have picked Cam Newton, especially when we saw the quarterbacks that were available. But I thought it was disrespectful how long he was on the market, and then you see what he got signed for. It's like Cam has it anymore, and that hurts me. And if anything, that's why I'm excited he actually went to this division. I think it's going to be great football, and I don't think you can count the Patriots out. I think before, honestly, we were, but honestly, at this point, give them a chance with Cam at the helm. Who knows? They might can do that job.
Yeah, I agree, Kelsey. I actually have the Patriots winning the AFC East, but then I saw they had 8 players that opted out. So I'm kind of changing my pick. But when you talk about Cam, I didn't like the way the Carolina Panthers treated Cam Newton, Kelsey. I think they really, really disrespected Cam. And me and Clarence talked about this on our show. When they released Cam, Kelsey, they released him via text. I thought that was so disrespectful, and it was just rude. And then they had a poll. Before they released him, they had a Twitter poll question about the greatest Panthers in history. They didn't even have Cam Newton as a candidate. They had Julius Peppers. I think they had Luke Kuechly and Steve Smith. I'm like, are you serious? And I think Cam, he devoted so much blood and so much commitment to that Panther organization. I thought they could have done better by Cam. And if you're going to break up with someone, you break up with them face to face, not via text. That's so weak to me.
Right? Like that, it was hurtful. It was hurtful. Let me tell you, me here in DC, some wanted that reunion of Cam Newton with Ron Rivera here. But of course, that would have meant Dwayne Haskins would not have been that guy. And I think Washington is putting so much behind Dwayne Haskins to be that guy. And I hope he has a breakout season. He needs to have a breakout season. But it would have been special, right? I mean, if Cam and Ron could have reunited for this Washington franchise, I mean, it would be fun. So let me tell you, fans here in DC, they keep fighting for those RG3 days. Like, that's the glory days they want back here in Washington. Not coming anytime soon, but I mean, that was a special time in Washington because I think that was probably the last time that people really felt hope and dreams. And actually on that, I want to go back to the Ravens really quick because I thought this was fun. I had Chase Young's dad on my show listening with K&N, and it was great because he said, look, I love my son and he's so awesome, but I'm most excited to see if he can get to Lamar Jackson. Because he's like, if he can get to Lamar Jackson, that's he's like, Chase Young is preparing for Lamar Jackson because he wants to be that guy that gets him down. So again, I think it's going to be a fun football season. Should we have it, of course, with COVID?
Chase is a beast.
He is a beast.
So if he's chasing Lamar Jackson, he better get to him before Lamar even look left and right. That's all I'm saying. But
yeah. Real quick, Clarence. I want to ask Kelsey about a situation that took place in Baltimore, and this is me. I already threw my shade at you, Clarence. Now I got to throw some shade at Kelsey. How do you feel about that 4th and 12 play from a few years ago when the Bengals actually eliminated your Ravens? I know y'all remember that. Where were you, Kelsey, when that happened? And how did Maryland as a state, how did they take it? How did Baltimore take it?
He brought that up, Kelsey. That's shade.
No next about names, never come back on this show. No, I'm just like, but it's hurtful. I mean, it was one of those things to me. It was like, I can go back to the Billy Cundiff moment. Like, I mean, it's just some of those moments that you just don't forget and you start punching your wall. Like you take off of work for the week. Like you go into depression state. It was tough. I think we were enough. And again, I think, and honestly, the next time I felt like that was probably with the Derrick Henry thing. Because I was running my mouth on this past football season. Like the Ravens are about to do it. I was finally placing bets. Like I was that excited. And then lo and behold, I guess Derrick Henry didn't hear what I was saying to people because he messed up my dream. But it was just one of those moments. And I think the Bengals, even though that's usually like, it's crazy, no matter how good the Ravens are, I feel like they usually can give a tough time. It's those like crazy games like that we actually have to watch.
Yes.
The Bengals and the Browns sometimes. You're like, this team is good. How are y'all struggling against these teams? But those are the games.
Kelsey, I was in such disbelief when I was watching that game. It was 4th and 12. All the Ravens had to do was get one stop, and the game was over, and they were going to the playoffs. I couldn't believe it. You know who was that quarterback? Andy Dalton. He came in the clutch again, man. But Andy's gone. But Andy is gone, so I'm glad he's gone.